Doom is a name that resonates with gamers both young and old. It's a franchise that has continued to hold a level of influence over first-person shooters for decades. So it would come as no surprise that id Software, the developers of Doom, would want to see their franchise modernized to stay relevant. It began with Doom 2016, my favorite game of that year, and now its sequel Doom Eternal has managed to make it on my list of 2020. But how exactly has it managed to earn its way onto my list? Doom Eternal picks up sometime after the sudden and somewhat confusing ending of Doom 2016. The demon horde has now made its way to Earth, and all hell has broken loose. No pun intended. If you've played a Doom game before, you know how this goes. You pick up your shotgun, you rip and tear. Now let's be honest, Doom's story won't revolutionize storytelling in video games, and the story isn't exactly what gamers are coming to Doom for anyway. With Doom 16, however, the story becomes the dressing that justifies your bloody path on Mars. The same applies to Doom Eternal, but this time the devs take a more Souls-like approach, scattering lore throughout each level for those that want a bit more substance with their bloody paths of destruction. Doom Eternal takes a more direct approach in its storytelling. It boldly reveals more about the origins of the Doomslayer and the Night Sentinels. Sadly, the way it concludes leaves a lot to be desired, even more so than 2016. Story aside, let's talk about the most important part of Doom, the gameplay.
You were never one of us. You were nothing but a usurper, a false idol.
Gameplay is perhaps the major staple of the Doom franchise. Some would call it the ultimate power fantasy, and to be completely honest, it's an apt description. Doom Eternal puts all the power and control into your hands by giving you an array of tools to create your dance of destruction. You essentially become a one-man army as you tear through dozens of enemies arena after arena. This also applies to Doom 2016, but Doom Eternal turns this up to 11. The action is fast, frantic, and challenges the player's ability to understand and use all the tools at their disposal. Just like Doom 2016, when a player has an understanding of these tools, battles activate an in-the-zone or Zen-like mental state that is incredibly satisfying in the heat of action, and what keeps me coming back to the game all these months later. However, this is also where Eternal trips over itself compared to 2016. But Doom's gameplay isn't quite complete without some hype to back it up. Let's talk about the music. The Doom franchise has always had a metal album cover vibe to it. Hell and technology seem to go well together, I suppose. Music producer Mick Gordon has taken this idea and created something that people have been adding to workout playlists for years. This started with the 2016 game and was taken to another level in Eternal. But instead of just making yet another heavy metal soundtrack, something that most games do even today, Mick has found a way to blend both industrial metal and techno genres into something that just screams Doom. Not only that, but the music is also dynamic, meaning it changes based on what's happening on screen. During calm moments, the music takes a more dour yet ominous tone. When the action starts, the music picks up with enough head-banging bass metal and techno to leave your head and neck hurting for hours afterwards. Unfortunately, the dynamic aspect of this was more polished in 16 than it is here. Doom Eternal is a fantastic sequel to Doom 16 in almost every way. While it does stumble over its own weight at times, it manages to recover itself, empowering the player in ways that few games do to this day. Like 16, it prides itself on being a video game and doesn't push itself to be more than what its fans need from it. And in a sea of video games trying to break the mold, become more cinematic, and revolutionize storytelling in the industry, it's nice to have games that don't forget one of the most important parts of being a video game: the part where you play them. That's why Doom Eternal has earned its place as one of my favorite games of 2020.